That was really awesome seeing Shay speak, by the way, because I was able to watch her as a brand new rep at the fair, and she didn't really know much of what she was doing, and kind of watch her develop and how she's become kind of the top reps now, which is pretty sweet. So that was cool to hear. And then also, I just want to thank Anthony and Kuval, Chloe, NJ, Jay, Brad, Hans, and all the other managers for having me on. I've been wanting to give back a little bit for a while now, so I appreciate you guys giving me up the opportunity to come on and speak to the division. So as far as 10K pushes goes, my story is pretty interesting because I started in October of 2008, and my first summer in 2009, I was a branch manager, so I didn't actually even get to have my first full summer as a rep to go for a 10K push. I was teaching other reps that, and so by the time 2010 came around, I took it very seriously, and I went for 10K in a big way. I did like a 3-day phone jam beforehand. I prepared my list, and challenges hit. It's kind of funny how Anthony said things get weird when push comes up. When you just in general in life, when you set a big goal for anything, whether it be start up your own business or graduate from this school or do anything, if it's a huge goal, there's always going to be challenges that hit you pretty much instantly. It's just kind of the way things roll with the world and the universe, I guess. And for me, I was really close to 10K on the last day of push, and I woke up and I had 6 appointments ahead of me, and I woke up with the flu, and it was really bad flu too. And so my manager gave me a big jug of orange juice and said, "No, you got to do it." And there wasn't like all the the new COVID. Nowadays, I probably would have worn a mask and not done my appointments, but this is 2008 we're talking about. And I went to all my appointments and I sold 0. I went 0 for 6. I ended up still hitting 10K by texting some key customers and kind of making it happen at the end, which was pretty awesome. But it was definitely my last day of push was one of my terrible days, which I'll talk about that here in a second. But I do have 3 tips for you guys, 3 nuggets I'm going to leave it with for everybody. The slide would move to the next one if there's a button from that. That went a little too far. There we go. So I'm talking about the 4-quadrant mindset, and then your phone is your credit card, and then the momentum factor. Those are going to be my main 3 keys for you guys. So when we talk about breaking down push into quadrants, that would be the next slide. There are 4 quarters or quadrants. I usually call them quarters. So there's 4 quarters, just like let's say a championship basketball game. There's 4 quarters, and towards the last quarter is when all the players are actually moving their feet and really running hard and trying to get that win. And the first and second and third quarter, it's usually not as intense. And so quarter 1, I have to break it down from the first week of push, which would be Monday through Thursday. 2 would be Friday through Sunday, and then Monday through Thursday, and then quarter 4 would be Friday through Tuesday, which would be the last day of push on that last Tuesday. And as far as the way the days break down is that there is 4 different kinds of days you can have when you're having going for a big push. There's your average days, which let's say if you do 4 appointments in a day, or 5 appointments, 6 appointments, however many you break down on that particular day, you're going to hit the averages, which means that you're going to sell. If you do 6 appointments, you're going to do, maybe half of them are going to buy, and then you're going to get about a 250 to 350 average order size, and you're going to hopefully hit $1,000, maybe 750, and you're going to feel good about it because okay, you hit the averages. It wasn't a huge day, but it's in line with your goal, so you're going to feel pretty good about it. You're going to get some leads and whatnot. And then you're going to have your amazing days where I've had some crazy experiences when it comes to, huge days and appointments. I remember my biggest single day I ever had. I sold 2 Cutco kitchens on the same day to different customers. And then I sold like 2 other flatware chests and then like an upgrade. And I remember the day because Nate Ferrer was working appointments that same day. And I texted him that I had sold the cloud kitchen, and he actually sold one that same day too, just to like kind of like spite me. We ended up selling the exact same amount that day, which is like 12 grand on one day, which was pretty exciting. And I was also driving all over the place that day. I drove like 3 or 4 hours that day. But that was one of my most amazing days I've ever had. But amazing days, you never know what's going to happen on an amazing day. When you're going for a push and you're spreading your goals and you're sharing your goals to a high level and you're getting people bought in on what you're trying to accomplish, you can move mountains. It's crazy the way things work with sharing goals and getting people bought in, having that good rapport with a customer, especially with the fact that we have that amazing 5-pay plan where you can, somebody could drop customers out there can easily spend, $1,200 a month for 5 months and, get a Cocoa Kitchen. Especially if somebody that's that type of customer that's just sick of their cookware, sick of their flatware, sick of their knives, they just want to start fresh, or that customer who's just finishing a remodel or just bought a new house, something like that. There's customers are out there. So always make sure that you're pushing for those big orders. And then there's also, you're going to be your terrible days. And those days have happened to me. I just explained one of them. And I think one of the greatest differences between a new rep and an experienced rep is that a terrible day will happen to me and it doesn't even faze me at all. I had a terrible day today, actually, and I sold nothing today. So that was a terrible day, and I'm still happy. I'm home. I'm with my my family here a little later, and it's just a part of the business. You're gonna have bad days. That's just how it goes. If you look at the whole month for somebody like myself who's a career sales rep, usually in the whole month there's gonna be one terrible week, but one really good week, and then 2 average weeks. But the terrible week, you always kind of feel down about it a little bit, but as an experienced person, it doesn't affect you. And that's what brings me to the last day that we'll have during push, which is your wild card days. So that's what makes the difference between a 10K rep, somebody who hits the 10K mark, and somebody who maybe gets close or doesn't hit it, or just in general, a top performer versus somebody who might not be a top performer, is how somebody responds during the good days and the bad days. So let's say if you just had a great day, are you gonna the next day be like, oh, I had a good day, like I don't need to work today, or I don't need to make those 3 phone jams today, or I don't need to get up at whatever time that you're supposed to get up to be on the Alliance phone jam in the morning, because you got a good day. And then what happens that next day becomes a bad day, even though you just had a great day. That next wild card day becomes a bad day just because you weren't completely committed to your goals and you let yourself off the gas even though you had a great day. And then even more so, what happens with reps, especially new reps, is you have a terrible day and you're like, oh my God, I'm over it. I just want to go to the beach, and you're kind of like just about to give up on the whole thing just because you had one bad day. And that, I tell you, I've had some terrible days that happened, and then the next day was a great day, because even though I had a terrible day, I hopped on the phones that night, I scheduled some same day appointments, and or did some kind of extra something to create the next day to be a good day, and still woke up the next day to make it happen, even though I had just went through a terrible day. So it's a kind of the analogy I like to use is like a roller coaster. So as much as there's like the ups and downs, you want to keep it as smooth as possible. Even if you have a good day, keep yourself reined in and still work. Or if you had a bad day, then boost stuff up and still work. The most important thing is to just keep your level of working exactly the same, regardless of having a great day, bad day, or average day. And I would like to also explain a little bit of how to have a 10K push on the next slide. I actually broke down the math here. I think that Anthony also changed it a little bit, but is there a way to go to the next slide here? Here we go. Deconstructing a 10K push. So if you can just go ahead and show all of it right there, just kind of keep clicking until it shows all of them. Here we go, cool. So when you're trying to have a 10K push, let's say if you have a $300 average order size, which is I think is the national average for reps, you're gonna need to create about 33 handwritten orders, or now with the app, you're gonna have to submit 33 orders total. And so if you divide that by a 60% closing, and then also add in about 10 appointments, because sometimes we have those ones that cancel on us, porches, you always want to account for that during push. So you put it at 55 appointments. You can make 10 calls per appointment. On average, usually takes about 10 calls, ring, ring. This person says, call me back. This person says whatever, and then you book one on the 10th call. That's going to be about 550 calls you're going to have to make, which is why making time for the phone jams are so important, making sure that you're not the one that's missing those alliance phone jams, not the one who's missing any phone jam, really. And so that's going to be 16 days of push. You break that down, it's 35 calls per day, which if you go to the next slide, 35 calls a day is not that hard when you break that down into 3 phone jams. That's 12 calls per phone jam if you're doing 3 phone jams in a day. And so the exciting thing about that is, since you are making so many phone calls, your phone becomes your credit card. So you have to change the way you're thinking about it and be excited to make calls, because the minimum income you'll make during push selling 10 grand is $2,000 to $2,000. And that's the goal for the summer for a new rep, is to come out of the summer with money in your pocket, paying for books, or if you're not in school, just having money to spend to do fun things and travel and whatnot. And Cutco is a great opportunity for that. I've met so many people that have done so many amazing things with Cutco, using Cutco as a vehicle. When I was new, one of the people, I forget her name, but she was out of Huntington Beach, and she used to build wells in Africa. She would sell a certain amount, and she would use that as her why during push. And she would end up actually building wells in Africa using her Cutco money. So there's a significant amount of money to be made with Cutco if you commit to the process that we're explaining to you here. And that's going to be about $3.64 you're making per phone call. So really, that means you're making, if you push it one more time, I think there's another thing there where you're making 36 cents per digit. If you're doing 1310 991, so you're like literally ching 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 ching. So when you're sitting there, you want to be making calls. And I remember when I was the new rep, the way that I would do it is I actually bought a little expensive phone at the phone store that was like a simple mobile plan. It's like $40 a month, unlimited text and phone calls. And so I'd have 2 phones, and I would literally mark off on my list left and right, so that this phone was on the right hand. And so I would remember, like, hey, if this person answers, it's on the right side, and then this person answers the left side. And I would call it that phone time. And I'd be calling 2 people, and then this person would answer, and I hang this one up and like, hey. And then back after that calls over, back to calling 2 people. And I would literally be jamming to my list, getting rid of the not answers to get to the next one faster. So like the way that you have to bring energy to the phones is on a high level is really where the money is made. So don't be shy about that. Definitely make the calls and do the morning phone jams. Can't tell you how many times I've been up at 7 a.m. Making calls, calling customers at 7 a.m., calling them, and they're awake at those times. I tell you what, people are awake. They're not our age. They're executives. They're business owners. They're doctors. They're nurses. These people are not sleeping at 7 a.m. So sometimes it's the only time to catch them also. So make sure that you guys are making those calls. And that brings me to my next tip, is the momentum factor. So on the next slide, there is the EQ versus IQ that I also going to talk about when it comes to Cutco, because there is people out there that will go through college and graduate and have no experience because they just went from their BA right to master's and couldn't find a job, so they just continued with college. And that's kind of like a ticket to apply. How you get the job is really having that experience. And this push period is such a huge opportunity to be able to put on your resume that you sold $10,000 on a 2-week push period and you went through all the challenges. And the emotional quotient of any kind of business owner or any person that is a high level executive, that's really what people want when they're hiring or doing anything when it comes to, doing with their business. It's all about EQ compared to IQ. And the learning curve that you have with Cutco during a 10K push parade, where you're at right now listening to this talk and where you're going to be at the end of push is because you've pushed yourself so hard and you did so many appointments in a short amount of time. Also learning so much because your managers are going to be having those alliance meetings with you guys. So applying new things and also working and applying them very hard and over again repetitively, and also going through the challenges and overcoming those, you guys are going to be able to be so much stronger for the rest of the summer. And if you guys stick with this Cutco thing for like a career wise, which I'm proof that it's possible, as far as I've been selling Cutco for 13 years and I'm over 2.5 million, and I support my family, and I have identical twin boys that are 3.5 years old, and I'm a single father. So I'm out here doing it. It's possible. You guys can do it too. So it's all about overcoming the challenges and, growing from this experience and getting as much income as you can in a short period. Oh yeah, single dad. Yep, that's right. So as far as the next thing I wanted to share with you guys is that you guys actually, oh yes, all you need is 10 leads. So that's something that my manager always told me. I remember when I first started my first big push parade, I think I made my list and I was like, oh shoot, I only had like 15 leads, or I think it was 10. And there's also been 2 times in my career with Cutco as a sales rep that I lost my backpack and lost all my leads, just gone. And so I've had to start over twice. And push parades are a great excuse to get out there and get more leads. I remember I used to put little post notes on doors of all my neighbors saying, hey, this is Conor from Cutco. It's Conor, I'm your neighbor. And I want to ask you a quick question. Please give me a call. And I get people calling me, and I would explain to them the whole Cutco pitch and explain how I'm a college student. And I would get leads that way. I would actually go knock on doors. I started knocking on doors literally of my neighbors. Hey, I live right there. That's my house. How's it going? I'm working for this big push. Can you help me out? And all kinds of ways. I'll hit up all my old customers, ask them for leads. I would think of new, fresh leads that I had never thought of, because there's always people, like little connections. My church was a huge one when I was a brand new rep. I would remember they had a little church directory at my church, and I would just go through the directory and look at like, okay, that's a good family. I'm gonna call them. Hey, this is Conor from your church, and that was huge actually. So there's all kinds of ways that you guys can think of to find and do more appointments. So other than that, guys, just to bring it home, my main 3 tips once again are just have a 4-quadrant mindset. Your phone is your credit card, and also the momentum factor. Oh yes, and then keep in mind that when you're doing this many appointments, you're gonna end the push with so many leads that you're gonna have no problem having $2,000 weeks after this. At least having that 1K string going easily after this, because you're gonna have so many fresh leads after working hard for this push parade. So that's my talk. Hope you guys got some good nuggets from it. And actually, I'll share my email with you guys in case anybody has any questions. It's cutcoconnor@gmail. So it's, CONOR, so 1 N, OR @gmail.com. And so you guys can ask me questions if you guys, during push or anything really. I'm really good at selling Cutco kitchens. I've sold a lot of Cutco kitchens recently. I sold 2 during the recent mall we did. And my average order size at events right now is over $1,000. And I sell Cutco on federal bases. So I go to military bases, and I travel around a lot selling Cutco. So yeah, so if you guys have any questions, just let me know.
Boom, I love it. I like he stopped. He said, I'm really good at selling Cutco kitchens. And I was like, you get to just stop at Cutco, Conor. He's really good at selling Cutco. Here's what I'll tell you right now. You guys always got access to a CSP over $2.5 million in CPO's email. And some of you are going to take that and you're going to send him like an email an hour. Some of you are going to take that, send them one email. It's like, hey, how do I sell more Cutco? And it's going to be useless. And some of you are never going to touch that at all. And I want to tell you right now, I would take full advantage of the fact that Conor just said, like, hey, here's my email. Shoot me some goods. But hey, real quick, guys, you know the drill. Make sure you're sharing some love for the King Conor here, for giving you guys the absolute goods, bringing some stories. I love hearing some of those early stories from Conor. Obviously, being 13 years in the business, all we hear is about how great you are now. But I love hearing some of those initial stories, struggles and challenges that you overcame. It shows, we kind of just all started at the same place. I think that's fantastic. And I love that concept there of all you need is 10 leads. So thank you again, Conor, for taking some time to speak with the division here, talking to some of the new people here. And here's what I'll tell y'all. Go hard for this push, kick some butt, and get yourself in the opportunity to start working events with people like Chase and like Conor. So you have the opportunity to be around them. Because here's what I'll tell you, even if you're planning on being a long-term rep or a manager, as someone who went the management route, spending time with people like Conor, like Nate, like Leah Eliopoulos, and getting the chance to be around them helped me learn how to sell Cutco at a higher level so that I can now train people like my representatives and my branch managers on how to best serve their representatives and their customers to be great. So thank you again, Conor, for taking some time, kicking some butt with us. That is phenomenal. That was great there. And J. Brad did not lie. You absolutely crushed that thing. So thank you for that, sir.